In the heart of southeastern Nigeria, among the red earth and swaying palm trees, there was a small village where people lived close to one another, where everyone knew each other's story, and where whispers spread faster than harmattan fire. In this village lived Adiz, a young woman of 23, with full cheeks and a body her people often described as too heavy for her age. Adiz was not thin like the other girls who carried themselves like broomsticks. She had soft arms, thick thighs, and a belly that folded slightly when she laughed. But her smile was like sunlight after storm. It stretched wide across her round face, lit up her deep brown eyes, and softened the harshness of any day. Yet that smile, though radiant, was not enough to shield her from the cruelty of her village. Every day, as Adiz fetched water from the stream, some group of boys would chuckle behind her back. "See as ground days shake when she day waka," one would say, and the others would laugh, clapping their hands as if they had said something profound. Girls of her age, slim and adorned with the latest Ankara gowns, would look at her with a mix of pity and ridicule. She will eat all the suya in the village. One mocked at the market one evening. Adiz's ears burned, but she kept her head down, clutching the basket of tomatoes she was buying for her mother. Her mother, Mama Ifioma, was a strong woman who ran a small Accra stall near the bus stop. She always told Adiz, "My daughter, body is body, but character is everything. Don't let them steal your joy." But Adiz found it hard to believe when even her closest cousin, Chika, often teased her. "If only you could lose weight. Maybe one rich man will look your way. As it is, who will marry you?" Despite the constant body shaming, Adiz worked hard. She rose early every morning to sweep the compound, helped her mother fry Accra balls in hot oil, and then trekked to the market with a basket on her head. She sang softly as she walked, her voice carrying sweetness that made children follow her like birds to crumbs. Some admired her quiet strength, but most only saw her size. Life in the village was simple but harsh. The women woke before dawn to fetch water, till the soil, or prepare food for their husbands. Men gathered under mango trees to discuss politics or sip palm wine. The young girls polished themselves daily with coconut oil, hoping to attract suitors who came back from Lagos or Abuja with money. Adiz never joined them. She knew they didn't see her as competition. One fateful Saturday, the village was alive with preparation for the Ofala festival. Drummers beat their talking drums, women wrapped themselves in brightly patterned wrappers, and children chased each other around. Adiz, dressed in her best faded wrapper and sleeveless blouse, carried trays of puff-puff to sell near the village square. As usual, the other girls giggled behind her, making jokes about how much puff-puff she must eat herself. She ignored them, her heart heavy but her smile unbroken. It was during this festival that fate changed her life. A convoy of jeeps rolled into the dusty village square, stirring red earth into the air. People rushed to see. The car stopped, and from one stepped out a tall, well-built man in his 30s, dressed in a crisp white agbada with golden embroidery. He carried himself with quiet confidence, the kind that money and success gave. His name was Obinna, a wealthy businessman who had returned from Lagos to pay homage to the Igwe during the festival. As Obinna moved through the crowd, people hailed him, "Obinna, Obinna, Nani Oweri, you have come back." He smiled politely, greeting elders with respect. Yet, as he scanned the crowd, his eyes caught Adiz standing by her puff-puff tray. She had just bent to pick up a fallen piece when she looked up, and their eyes met. Her face flushed, and instinctively she smiled her wide, bright smile that carried both innocence and resilience. Obinna stopped for a moment. The noise of the festival seemed to fade. He was drawn, not by her size, not by her clothes, but by that smile that seemed to pierce through his heart. He walked toward her, to the shock of many. The other girls watched, their mouths open. "Is Obinna really walking to Adiz?" they whispered. "Good afternoon," he said warmly, his voice deep. Adiz blinked, surprised. "Good afternoon, sir." He looked at her tray. "You made these?" "Yes, with my mother," she replied shyly. He smiled and picked one puff-puff, tasting it. "Delicious. How much for everything?" The crowd gasped. Nobody had ever bought all her puff-puff before. Adiz stammered. "Everything? But it is too much, sir." How much? He insisted. She whispered the price, and without bargaining, he gave her a crisp bundle of notes. Keep the change. Adi's hands trembled as she held the money. Her smile widened again, pure and unguarded, and Obinna felt something stir within him, something he had not felt in years of being around polished city women. The news spread like fire. Obinna, the rich man, had bought all of Adi's puff-puff. That night, the village buzzed with gossip. Maybe he pitted her, some said. Others sneered. Obinna can have any woman in Lagos. How can he notice her? But Adiz lay awake in her small room, clutching the money, her heart pounding not from the money, but from the way he had looked at her, as if she mattered. Days turned into weeks. Obinna remained in the village for longer than usual, attending meetings, sponsoring projects, and visiting the Agui. But often, quietly, he found his way to Mama Ifeoma's Accra stall. He would sit under the umbrella, order Accra and pap, and chat with Adiz. He asked about her dreams, her struggles, her joys. She told him shyly about wanting to become a teacher, but lacking money for training. He listened, truly listened, in a way no one else had. The villagers grew restless with gossip. Girls who once mocked Adiz now hissed when she passed. Chika, her cousin, confronted her. So you want to use Obinna to climb out of poverty? Don't think he will marry you. He will just use you and leave. Adiz's heart sank. But when she saw Obinna, all her doubts melted in his gentle eyes. One evening, after market hours, Obinna asked her to take a walk. They strolled past palm trees, the air filled with the smell of roasted corn. He stopped by the stream where the moon reflected in the water. Adiz, he said softly. I have been in Lagos among women who dress in gold and diamonds, but none of them smile like you. Your smile carries peace. I want to be the reason you keep smiling. Her breath caught. But me? Everyone says I am too fat, too. Let them talk, he interrupted firmly. I see you, and I choose you. Tears filled her eyes, but she smiled her brightest smile yet. At that moment, the girl who had been mocked daily felt seen, valued, loved. But love in an African village never comes without battles. Envy brewed, tongues wagged, and betrayal lurked in the shadows. Adiz did not yet know that her happiness would soon face storms. Storms of jealousy, revenge, and painful choices. But for that night, under the moonlight, her heart finally knew joy. The weeks after that moonlit night at the stream were filled with whispers that carried from compound to compound like restless spirits. The villagers, who had always measured a woman's worth by the thinness of her waist or the straightness of her walk, could not understand why Obinna, a man with wealth and standing, had chosen to linger around Adiz, the girl they had mocked all her life. For them, it was unthinkable that someone as respected as Obinna would be caught strolling to the market square with her, laughing freely, or carrying baskets alongside her as though they were equals. Envy grew like wild grass after rain. The young women, especially those who had spent countless hours polishing their skin with shea butter, braiding their hair with imported attachments, and rehearsing smiles in mirrors, felt insulted. To them, Adiz was a walking reminder that beauty could not be monopolized by slim figures and modern dresses. Among these women was Ngozi, the daughter of a wealthy palm wine tapper, who had once boasted that she would become Obinna's wife when he finally returned to settle in the village. Ngozi was tall, light-skinned, with sharp cheekbones and a practiced sway in her walk. She couldn't accept that Obinna had chosen someone else, least of all Adiz. Ngozi whispered poison into the ears of others. Obinna is only playing with her. Do you think he, a man of wealth, will marry a puff-puff seller? Impossible. He is only amusing himself. The other girls giggled, but the sharpness of jealousy glowed in their eyes. Even among Adiz's own family, envy stirred. Her cousin Chika grew more distant each day. One evening, as they sat in the compound pounding yam, Chika muttered, "So you think you are better than us now? Just because a rich man smiles at you? Don't forget you were still the girl they mocked yesterday." Adiz's pestle slowed. "Chika, I have never said I am better. I am still me." Chika gave a bitter laugh. "We shall see." But it was not only envy Adiz had to contend with. Tradition itself rose against her. One hot afternoon, Obinna came to Mama Ifeoma's stall with news. He leaned against the umbrella pole, his white shirt crisp despite the dust. Adiz, I have spoken to my people. I want to come formally with wine. I want you to be my wife. Her mother's hand froze on the ladle. Oh, Ben, are you sure? You know what people will say. I don't care what they say, he replied. His voice carried determination. I have seen the woman I want. Tears sprang to Mama Ifeoma's eyes. My daughter, do you hear this? God has answered. Adiz, her hands trembling, could only nod, her smile trembling between disbelief and joy. But their joy was short-lived. That evening, the elders of Obina's family gathered in his father's compound. They sat on carved wooden chairs, cola nuts on the table before them, their faces stern. The eldest uncle, Chief Okeke, spoke first. Obina, we hear you want to marry the Accra woman's daughter. Is this true? Yes, uncle, Obina answered firmly. Chief Okeke shook his head. You, a man of your standing, with all the city women at your feet, want to bring shame to this family by marrying a girl who sells puff-puff in the market? A girl they mock in the village? This cannot be. Another elder chimed in. Marriage is not just about love, Obina. It is about status, about families joining to uplift one another. What will people say when the son of our house marries a girl of no name, no status, and no shape? Obina's jaw tightened. Uncle, with respect, it is her character that matters. She is kind, hard-working, and pure-hearted. I want her, and that is final. The elders exchanged dark glances. One muttered, This boy has been bewitched by her smile. News of the meeting reached Adiz quickly. Her heart pounded with fear. That night, lying on her raffia mat, she whispered to her mother, Mama, what if they force him to marry another? What if I am not enough? Mama Ifeoma stroked her hair. My daughter, listen to me. A man who stands against his family for you is not a small man. If he has chosen you, hold your head high. Love will conquer. But not everyone believed that. One evening, Ngozi visited Adiz at the market, her voice sugar-coated but her eyes sharp. Adiz, enjoy it while it lasts. Men like Obina don't marry girls like you. You are just a phase like the rain that comes and goes. Adiz clenched her fists, but instead of replying, she gave the smile that had caught Obina's heart. We shall see, Ngozi. Ngozi's face twisted. She walked away, her wrapper swaying angrily. But she was not done. Days later, whispers began to spread that Adiz had been seen sneaking into the house of a married man in a nearby village, that she had bewitched Obina with charms bought from a native doctor, that she was pregnant, though no one could say by whom. The lies multiplied like ants on sugar. Wherever Adiz walked, she felt eyes burning holes into her skin. Children mimicked her in song. Adiz the fat one, Adiz the witch. The humiliation was unbearable. She confronted Obina in tears. They say I am not worthy, that I trapped you with charms. What if your family believes them? Obina took her hands, his eyes steady. Let them talk, Adiz. They talk because they cannot stand your light. I know the truth, and that is enough for me. But the storm only grew fiercer. Obina's uncle, determined to break the union, visited Mama Ifeoma's compound. Woman, he said sharply, stop your daughter before she brings disgrace to us all. We will never allow Obina to marry her. Mama Ifeoma stood her ground, her wrapper tied tightly around her waist. My daughter has done nothing wrong. If Obina chooses her, then who are you to stop him? Is love no longer part marriage? The elder spat on the ground. Love does not feed families. Wealth and status do. You are blind, woman. And with that he left, leaving a heavy silence behind. That night, as the crickets sang in the distance, Adiz sat outside under moon, tears rolling silently. She thought of all the times she had been mocked, all the names they had called her. Just when she found happiness, the world seemed bent on tearing it from her hands. Her chest ached with the weight of it. Obina found her there. He knelt beside her, lifting her chin. Adiz, listen to me. Do you trust me? She nodded weakly. Then hold on. No matter what they do, no matter what they say, I will not let you go. You are my choice. and I will fight for you." His words wrapped around her like a shield, but deep in her heart, Adiz knew this fight would not be easy. She knew envy could turn deadly, that betrayal could come from those closest to her. And though she longed to believe in a happy ending, the shadows that loomed over her village whispered otherwise. The weeks that followed Nkem's humiliation in front of Chuka's friends were some of the hardest she had ever known. In the village, whispers carried faster than the harmattan wind, and by the next morning, everyone seemed to know the details of her disgrace. Women in the marketplace chuckled behind her raffia fans. Young boys teased her when she walked past, and even elders who once praised her industriousness gave her pitiful looks. Her heart ached not only from the sting of body shaming, but from betrayal of man she thought might see beyond her flesh. For days, she stayed indoors, refusing to fetch water at the stream or sell vegetables at the market. Mama Ifioma grew worried. "My daughter," Mama Ifioma said one evening, sitting by her mat, "you cannot hide forever. The world will not stop speaking, but your ears can learn not to listen. If you give them your tears, they will drink them like palm wine." Nkem, wiping her swollen eyes, shook her head. "Mama, I am tired. Tired of their laughter. Tired of being the joke of this village. Sometimes I wish I was born in another body." Mama Ifioma pulled her closer, pressing her hand gently. "And, Nkem, do you know what my grandmother told me? That the yam does not envy the cocoa yam. Each has its taste, its season, its place in the pot. The person who does not value you is not your loss, but his blindness. You, my daughter, must open your own eyes before asking others to see you." Despite her mother's words, the pain lingered. Each morning, she still dreaded stepping outside. But life has a way of surprising even the most wounded hearts. One Saturday, when Nkem finally forced herself to return to market, carrying her woven tray of fresh okra and garden eggs, a sleek black SUV rolled into the village square. Cars of that kind were rare in Yumuz, where most people traveled by bicycle, kiki, or at best, an old Peugeot. The vehicle gleamed under the sun, its windows tinted, its presence commanding attention. Children ran after it, shouting, "Oyabo car! Oyabo car!" The villagers paused their bargaining to watch as the vehicle stopped by Mama Chinyer's stall. From the car stepped a tall man, dressed in a crisp white kaftan, polished sandals glistening. His skin was dark and glowing, his beard neatly trimmed, and on his wrist sat a gold watch that caught the sunlight. Women whispered, men nodded in acknowledgement. "That is Chief Obina's son, Emeka," someone muttered. "Yes," another confirmed. "The one who went to Lagos. They say he owns companies there now. A very rich man." Emeka moved through the crowd with quiet confidence, exchanging greetings with villagers. When his eyes fell on Nkem, standing awkwardly behind her tray of vegetables, something in his gaze softened. She tried to look away, embarrassed, certain he would join the others in judging her size. But instead, he walked straight to her stall. "Good afternoon," he said warmly. Nkem hesitated, then replied, "Good afternoon, sir." He smiled. "Call me Emeka. These vegetables, they are fresh. Did you harvest them yourself?" "Yes," she said quietly, still avoiding his eyes. He picked one of the garden eggs, rolling it gently in his palm. "They remind me of when I was a boy. My mother used to send me to buy from this very market. She always said the best ones came from a girl named Ifioma." "That is my mother," Nkem whispered. Emeka looked at her closely, his smile broadening. "Then the good hands have passed to you. I will buy all of these." "All," she gasped, shocked. "Yes, all. Pack them for me." The other vendors gawked. "Who buys all the vegetables from one stall?" But Emeka's driver soon came forward with a basket, into which Nkem carefully placed the produce. When she told him the price, Emeka doubled it without bargaining, leaving her speechless.